Hey everyone, I'm on here just a little early for Q&A Tuesday. I have a full house in my office. The dog laying here. Look who got home from school. Can you talk?
Caroline!
And she's lost her voice, but myself and who else told you at school your voice was sounding better?
Yeah, doctor said
Yeah, so her voice is getting better. But you feel okay, right? Yeah. So you want to say anything? Or you just want to rest your voice? Okay. So she's going to go rest while we wait for a few people to jump on here
bye-bye.
and talk about.
See you next time.
Say, see you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
And hopefully she'll have a voice next week. We're going to jump on here today for Q&A Tuesday and talk about Facebook in terms of profile and groups and pages, because I get this question a lot, and this is one of the questions that I got. I think back when I first posted I was going to start doing this, I had a whole list of questions, so I don't even think I've got through all of those. So this is a question that comes up a lot, and almost every week people ask me or tell me that they've stopped using their page, or they're going to stop Facebook, or they're going to create a group, or should they create a group. So I get a lot of questions like this, so I wanted to just address that really quickly today in Q&A Tuesday, kind of what the difference is between each one of those, but then also why you should be integrating them all together, because I think that is the key when it comes to Facebook. So let me first just start with the profile. I'm going to kind of take it back to the basics. So if you have been on Facebook for a really long time and think this is very basic, you can fast forward through all of this later. But the profile is a person. It's created. You have to have a first name and a last name. They've done a really good job of, if businesses try to do a profile, they say that's not someone's real name. Oh, she shut my door. It must be too loud for her in her quiet time. So the profile has to be a first and last name. So we run into that a lot because businesses try to have a profile, which breaks the Facebook law, and you don't want to go into Facebook jail for that. So a profile is a person. You friend people through a profile, and so that's what that first base of Facebook is. You have to have a profile in order to have a group and in order to have a Facebook page. So those two things, are kind of the next step. So I see the next step usually, and this, when Facebook first started, it was all just profiles, and you would just friend each other, and that's all there really was on Facebook. Then we started seeing that big brands would come into Facebook, and they were doing some stuff and trying to get people to like their page and to follow them and interact with them. And that was just mainly the big brands for a really long time. And then they started opening it up to anybody. So now you can have a page on anything, and most of the time we see pages are business pages or organizations. Nonprofits have pages. Anything that has either a brick and mortar or just service-based company, any company out there, any organization out there that wants to reach people can have a Facebook page. That's kind of like the next level of it. Facebook pages allow you to run ads. They allow you to do message bots that I've been talking about all week if you've been following me. And you also follow and like a page. So we can't friend as a page. We can't friend anybody, but we can encourage people to like and follow our page. Then kind of the next step, and something that really grew organically from groups that were just person-to-person groups, are the next phase of groups, I guess as you want to call it, is where brands now can create linked groups to their pages in order to really communicate to a smaller base of people. And so in the marketing world, I call pages as our outreach. So pages, we try to find people that don't know us yet. And our groups are more of an internal communication in terms of people that already know our brand, maybe have already purchased our products and services and want to interact with us that way. So those are kind of like the marketing terms of things, how things go. So a couple of things with groups is that it is started by a person typically. Like I mentioned, they're able to link to the pages, and this is just a recent thing that happened in the last year or so. But what I've seen happening is that if we link to a page and your organic reach is really kind of plummeting anyway on your pages, in general, organic reach is really low, we see that kind of trickles over to our group. And so once we linked the group, then we weren't reaching as many people. So I had my group linked at one point, and then I unlinked it. And so now I'm back to just running it as myself, and then it's doing a lot better than it was in that week or two that it was linked. So that's a big thing with groups, is do not connect them to your page, yet they should have something to do with your page. And so how I see people using groups are several different ways. I have my Social Media Marketing Made Simple group, which is where I really share content, kind of the first, if you really want to know what's really going on first, you follow that. And then this is more of an outreach about, who I am and my brand. So that's a little different. So I usually encourage people to use a group more for a customer base. They put customers in there, like a VIP group, instead of just a really broad group of people. There's a couple rules, unspoken rules, I think, of groups is, just don't add a bunch of people into the group. Those people might not be your target audience. You probably shouldn't add somebody to a group without asking them first. Usually what I do, and I haven't done this for a while actually, I did a lot last year, is if I talked to somebody about marketing, I would add them to the group, because usually it would come up and I would say, hey, I have this group on Facebook, I'll add you the next time I'm in there. So they kind of knew it was coming anyway. And I'm sure there's people who have left the group. Every group has that. People, just a different time in their lives where they come and leave groups. But it is person to person, so you're using your personal profile in a group. So that's a little different than what we usually see with a page, where, it's coming from the brand. So you may have multiple admin on your page, and it comes just from the brand name, but you may have multiple admin in your group and it actually comes from the person. So a lot of people don't want to use groups because of that. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can use all three of those, types of communication online. So just going back through and recapping here and adding a couple other things, is a profile is, your personal profile. And what I've seen being really successful is making sure that personal profile is connected to your page. So if you go to my personal profile right now, it'll say visit me at, and it'll have my business page. It'll also have my website of my business. I've seen people even take it to the next level of changing their cover photo to be very business-like. I probably should do that. I haven't. I think it's a picture of my favorite assistant there on the beach a couple years ago. So it hasn't been changed in a while. But I think those kinds of things really do help show that you are your brand. So if somebody interacts with you in a group, so I'm also a part of other groups and I interact in those groups. And so how people figure out who I am and why they should take any advice I'm giving in this group is that they click my profile. And that's the reason I have it linked to my Facebook page and I have my website there. But I should probably also have that cover photo that kind of tells about my organization. So maybe I'll put that on my list of stuff to do and encourage people to do. So that's one way of using your profile. Your pages. I mentioned advertising. So we're really trying to reach people outside of your inner circle. So we all kind of have our inner circle of people. And I was listening to this really cool webinar this morning as I was working, and it talked about, like, what do you do if you have less than $1,000 to spend on marketing? And, even thinking in terms, and they went back to, like, it's, why spend money on, before you spend money on ads, before you spend money, in the newspaper, before you spend money, even with a website, there's certain things that you can do in order to be successful. And it's just networking is pretty much what they were talking about. It's like, if you can't afford to go to the conference, then go to the free networking event before the conference. If you can't afford to join the chamber, go to some of the stuff that you can go to without having to become a member yet. So those kinds of things, you can really do first. And that's kind of what our pages is allowing us organically to go out there and say, hey, would you like to interact with me? And we can do this for very little dollars using Facebook ads, or organically for free by putting out good content. And that's where it all comes down to when it comes to how well your page does. So I've talked to people say, oh, my page does terrible. And I said, are you putting out consistent content? Well, I post, I posted a couple times a week. That's not probably consistent enough for your organization if you're not seeing any kind of return. Message bots are really going to change the way our engagement is interacting. I'd love to hear, and I don't know if there's that many people on here, so I jumped on here a little early, but love to hear from you if you're watching the recording. Are you using Facebook Messenger? So that's something to think about. When I first heard about message bots, I thought, oh my gosh, I can name, the last 10 people that contact me on Messenger are clients, out of maybe 15, the last 10 were clients, and that's really shifted. So if my clients are contacting me already on Messenger, and I want people just like my current clients to contact me, then I need to start using something like message bots to communicate. And so that's a good way and a reason to have a page, is because you have to run it through your message bots. Groups, great way to kind of get in front of people. If you go to your group insights, if you have a group, check out insights. I promise you they're going to look better than pages. They're going to be less spammy than trying to put your business stuff on your profile, because those are your friends, not necessarily people that want to use your services or products. So by having this group, you can really talk about your business in there. Give them a reason to be in your group. I always say it's encouraging to have like a VIP group, because those folks, feel like, okay, I'm in this group because I want to make sure that I get all the information from this organization before anyone else. And so that's the kind of like added value to the group. I try to post the blogs there first. I try to talk about anything that, I'm going to be bringing to the table early there prior to putting it on the page, so those people feel really a sense of added value. And so those are just some things, and I'm watching my clock here. I'm going to keep it under 15 minutes in this group, or in this particular video, because I just really wanted to talk about pages and profiles and groups and tell you that they really should be integrating together. I don't think there's one that's better than the other. I do think that you really need to make sure that you're not breaking any of the Facebook rules or go to Facebook jail for using your profile as a page, or talking too much about your business on your page or in your profile, because people don't really like that, and they're just going to defriend you or hide you. So it's not really help anyway. I know that that's probably the number one thing I hid for people for last year, was I was so tired of hearing about their business or whatever side gig they had going on, because if I wanted to learn about them, then I would go like their page or join their group. So I think that's important to remember. You can share occasionally. If you follow me, I share occasionally, but not a ton. And so I think they need to work together. They need to be integrated. I don't think one is better than the other. And I don't think you should delete any of them if you have something going on. But I think you need to be using it and being consistent with the usage. So thank you for joining me on this quick Facebook kind of profile pages, groups, oh my kind of video. And I will see you next week for Q&A Tuesday. I have to look through the list and see if I have any other good questions, or I might be putting out a call for questions again next week. If you have any questions you want me to answer next week, be sure to comment. I'll come back and look at those for consideration of next week. And tomorrow, watch my page, because I'm going to do a weekly freebie, I guess you want to call it, that you can download. And so it'll probably be on Wednesdays. I did it Thursday last week, and so I'm kind of trying it out. So I'm going to put it out tomorrow with simple instructions on how to get it, and then you can see what that's about. And actually, I'll look at my list here. It is going to be about, and I think I talked about this maybe here, I can't remember now. I've talked about 3 Instagram mistakes I keep seeing being made. So that's what I'll be talking about in my free download tomorrow, or it'll be up there tomorrow that you can download it. So hopefully I will see you next week, and have a great week.